Hi everyone, this is a tutorial to show you how I catch my floats on the wrong side of my work when I'm working in stranded colour work with two colours. Now, as I have said before, I usually work with one strand of yarn in each hand. I usually have my main colour in my left hand and my contrast colour in my right hand. Now I do swap those over if I need to catch my contrast colour floats on the wrong side, but I will show you that a bit later. Now, the reason we catch floats is because if you have lots of the same colour of stitch, you will end up with a float on the wrong side that is very, very long. And the problem with this is it will catch on your fingers or on your jewellery when you're wearing the garment, when you're taking it off or putting it on. So I tend to recommend that you catch your floats if you're working more than 5 stitches of the same colour in a row. Some people like to catch their floats more frequently than that, because you can see here where I've perhaps had a run of like 5 stitches, there's a longer float there. Now for me, I'm quite happy with the float being that length, it doesn't bother me, but some people like to catch their floats more frequently. That's up to you. So I'll show you first of all. Let's pretend that I am working 6 stitches of my contrast colour, and that means I want to catch my main colour on the wrong side so that I don't end up with a really long float. So this is how I do it. I'll work my first 2 stitches of the 6 as normal. Then for stitches 3 and 4, I catch the float on the wrong side, and this is how I do it. So I put my right needle through the stitch as normal, but then I lift the main colour up and over the right needle as well, so it's coming over the top. The right needle is going underneath the strand of main colour. Knit that stitch as normal and repeat that again for stitch number 4. Then you go back to working in a normal way for stitches 5 and stitches 6. And what you will see is on the wrong side, this is my main colour. You can see it's been caught here and here by on the wrong side. In fact, it's really difficult to see. So there and there, you have caught the float, so that instead of having one float that stretches all the way along these stitches, you've got a series of shorter floats that are less likely to be snagged. Okay, now I'm going to also show you if I need to catch the contrast colour. I actually swap hands when I want to do this because I've tried other methods. There are ways of catching the floats when you're holding the float you want, sorry, the yarn that you want to catch in your right hand. There are ways of doing it, but when I've tried them, I find it visible on the right side. It's not as neat. So I actually just swap hands and I use the same method. So this time I'm knitting with my main colour. Let's say I need to catch, let's say I need to work 6 stitches again. So I've done 2, and then for the next 2, I catch my float. So you're knitting in the normal way, but you're just bringing that unused yarn up above the needle, and that catches it. And then the last 2, you'll knit on as normal. And again, that catches the float on the wrong side. So you've got, you can see there and there, the float's been caught. Now, one thing I will mention, I used to catch floats by just catching it on one stitch. So you say you knit 2 stitches as normal, catch 1, and then carry on your way. Now, I don't recommend that because what I found, probably isn't going to be visible here, but what I did find is that when you only catch your float on one stitch, there's a lot of tension on that stitch. There's a lot of kind of almost like extra weight that it's holding on to because of the float that it's grabbing at the back. And I find that can actually cause the stitch to sort of almost move a little backwards on the fabric, and it creates a little pucker. So I do recommend catching on 2 consecutive stitches or even 3 consecutive stitches, depending on like how many stitches you're working of that one colour. don't just catch on one single stitch, because it almost puts like too much pressure on that stitch, and you can end up with a little bit of puckering or just a slightly differently shaped stitch because of that. Okay, that's how I catch my floats.